Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. We're going to talk about Ubisoft again, Assassin's Creed Shadows again, and these guys, Ubisoft, they just can't catch a break with this game. And even though this one I don't think is intentional at all or anything, this is insane. Assassin's Creed Shadows' new release date is the anniversary of the worst modern domestic terrorist attack in Japanese history. And this turns out just to be another wildly tone-deaf Ubisoft move towards Japanese culture. And there's been quite a few during this whole release schedule for this game. Let's cue the music and we're going to talk about this. All right, so Ubisoft's handling of Assassin's Creed Shadows has sparked yet another controversy, this time over its newly announced release date. The game, delayed twice already, is now slated to launch on March 20th, 2025, a date that marks the 30th anniversary of the Tokyo subway sarin attack, Japan's deadliest modern terrorist incident. For a game reportedly steeped in Japanese history, this decision has left many questioning Ubisoft's sincerity and sensitivity. It's a glaring misstep in a development cycle already riddled with accusations of disrespect and historical inaccuracies. Yeah, there's been a lot going on with this, man. And I got to tell you, this, of course, when you announce a date like this, and I can't blame Ubisoft for this. This is just horrible, horrible luck. And it almost feels like this game is destined not to come out. It's almost like it's cursed at this point. I feel like, the video game gods are like, Ubisoft, don't release this game. Just put this one on the shelf forever and move on to something else. Because it just feels like everything that these guys do is just making things worse, right? Ever since they announced the trailer and showed that first trailer, and we all saw Yusuke, the protagonist of the game, a samurai, an African samurai, things have just gotten out of control. First off, that's ridiculous. If you have a game set in feudal Japan, you expect a Japanese guy. Then they had hip-hop music for his fight music, which was just crazy. You had Chinese architecture. You had a stolen flag, like a stolen flag design in one of the scenes, one of the pictures, artwork from the game. From like a modern day reenactment group, that reenacts like historical battles or something along those lines. The Mori arch or whatever it's called with the one leg on it, I think that's what they call it. Which the only time we've seen that represented in Japanese history, I believe, was after the bombing of Nagasaki in World War II when the nuclear bomb went off there. And there's like a little statue of the two protagonists from the game in front of that. And it's just been one thing after another. And it just seems like everything is a slap in the face of Japanese culture. And is it intentional? I would hope not. I would give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's not intentional, but as it keeps happening, it's almost like, oh my God, is it? Is this intentional? Is some of it intentional? It's completely insane. Anyway, this is a tragic anniversary. The Tokyo subway sarin attack carried out by Shinrikyo cult on March 20th, 1995 resulted in 13 deaths, over 15 severe injuries, and temporary vision impairment for nearly 1,000 people. On that day, there were 5 coordinated attacks in which perpetrators released sarin, a chemical warfare nerve agent, on 3 lines of the Tokyo Metro during rush hour. The trains attacked were all passing through Kasumigaseki and Nagacheo, where the National Diet or Japanese Parliament is located in Tokyo. I apologize for butchering those names. It remains a somber day in Japanese history, commemorated as a reminder of the tragedy and resilience of its victims. For Ubisoft, a company claiming to have undertaken extensive research into Japanese culture and history for Shadows a game in which you play as a large black man hacking, slashing, and bludgeoning his way through scores of Japanese people. The decision to release the game on this anniversary seems either shockingly ignorant or blatantly disrespectful. Now, given the gravity of the attack, the release date is an especially sore point for critics who have already accused Ubisoft of mishandling the game's portrayal of Japan. And that's right, they did say they worked very closely with people in regarding Japanese culture and all that to make sure things were represented properly. But it seems like there was a lot of stuff that was misrepresented and represented very poorly. The architecture for one thing. That's how do you do that? It just seems like simple. I get it from an outsider's view, right? I wouldn't be able to look at Chinese and Japanese architecture from a historical viewpoint and be able to tell you the difference of it at a glance, because I don't have that education and I don't have that background. But if you showed me the difference and I worked with somebody who knew that kind of stuff and could point it out to me and said, this is this kind of design, that's that kind of design, this is what you want to make for your game and all that, that's what you work with, then how could you make that mistake? How could your artists make that mistake when you have a professional, a quote-unquote consultant working with you on that, right? That's what consultants should be doing, with video games. If that's what you want, a historical consultant, when you make movies and all that about the war and armies and all that, you bring in military consultants, you bring in historical consultants for things like this, and I just don't know how that could happen. And as far as bumping the game back, I mean, yeah, I think they just threw a dart on the wall or just estimated a date, picked it, and didn't even consider, anything like what that day could be. I mean, that would be like in Japan, a Japanese company releasing a game on September 11th here in the United States that, some kind of historical game about the United States without considering, what that means to us as it was a day that lives on in infamy here in the United States or on the anniversary of Pearl Harbor or something along those lines, Again, it would be insulting, but would it be intentional or not? Or would it just be like, oh crap, we didn't even think of that, What is important to us as a nation isn't always as important to someone else. But if we had, if they were working with consultants from the U.S., we'd be like, ooh, no, don't do that day. This is why. Why don't we do it a week later or, 2 weeks later or something like that? Because that day is not a good day to do that sort of thing. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been a lightning rod for controversy since its announcement. Ubisoft's decision to feature Yasuke, a supposedly historical black samurai, as the game's protagonist, marked a stark departure from the franchise's tradition of introducing fictional characters who interact with historical figures. Yasuke's inclusion as the first playable historical protagonist in the series has drawn sharp criticism. Many fans expected the game to feature a traditional Japanese male character, a samurai or ninja, rooted in Japan's rich cultural history. Indeed, Ubisoft's choice is seen by some as prioritizing modern Western ideological trends over authenticity of an Eastern culture. 100% correct on that one. Adding to this, accusations of historical inaccuracies have surfaced, such as the inclusion of Chinese architecture in a game meant to represent feudal Japan. These missteps further alienated fans who felt the franchise has strayed from its core appeal, delivering historically immersive experience. Ubisoft also faced a ton of cultural backlash for promoting a statue as Yasuke and Naru, the game's Japanese female protagonist, posing in front and on top of a destroyed one-legged torii gate. The symbolism of the one-legged torii gate has significance for the Japanese people because it's so closely tied to an iconic image of the decimated city of Nagasaki after the atomic bomb was dropped on it in 1945. Yeah. Tone deaf. Really, really tone deaf. I mean, it is an iconic image and all that. A little bit of research could have gone a long way here. That would be like a statue of the Twin Towers burning here in the U.S. Something along those lines, Very, very, very insensitive. Anyway, back in September, the statue was blasted by X-user R23614Shin. As translated by Google, the user wrote, "Please spread the word. Assassin's Creed Shadows figure from Ubisoft, the famous Japanese hate and criminal company. A figure of a destroyed Torii Gate has been released, which is believed to be based on the one-leg Torii Gate that was destroyed in the Nagasaki atomic bombing." He added, "I have never seen a one-legged Torii other than the one destroyed by the American atomic bomb in Nagasaki." While the company touts its commitment to research and authenticity, the choice of March 20th as a release date undermines that narrative. If the developers were unaware of the date's significance, it raises serious questions about their cultural understanding. If they were aware, I hope not, the decision appears to show blatant disregard for Japanese history and sensibilities. Ubisoft's financial stability is on the line with Assassin's Creed Shadows. The company's faced a significant decline in value. We've talked about all of this over the last couple of days. We're not going to rehash all that, but they are leaning a lot into this game to make them money, because if this game fails, this could bury Ubisoft. This could force them into either being bought out by another company, being shut down, selling off valuable IPs. Who knows? There's a lot that can happen here, but Ubisoft is in dire straits. They've got a lot riding on this game, and Assassin's Creed is their flagship IP. If this fails, they're in the deepest of deep trouble here. So anyway, their attempt to market Shadows as a love letter to Japan risks falling flat. And I believe it's fallen flat. I don't know if they can recover from all this, man. With missteps piling up to erode player trust. Whether this game can recover from its growing list of controversies, well, that's going to become clear in the months ahead. But for now, the tone-deaf decision of its release date adds to the perception that Ubisoft's respect for history is little more than skin deep. What do you guys think, man? Do you think it's an oversight? A lack of respect? Let me know in the comments. I mean, I don't think it's a lack of respect. I think it's an oversight. I honestly do. I don't see anybody being that cruel, that callous, that would require just somebody just being that uncaring to say, "Oh, you know what? Who cares? No big deal. Let's just release it on that day." Why not? I get it. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, something happened that day. It was a terrorist attack and all that. The video game has nothing to do with that. So there's no correlation there. But had nothing else happened with this game and there'd been no other controversy, maybe that wouldn't be such a big deal. But the fact that there has been so many other controversies along the road here, and that this game is such a touchy subject right now with gamers, between gamers and Ubisoft, and then between Japan and Ubisoft, that maybe they should have thought this one through a little bit more. I think they're going to delay the game again. Maybe only by a week, and maybe only to avoid this date. I think we'll be seeing something from Ubisoft, an announcement here within maybe the next 10 days. Due to the fact that we were not aware of this situation, yada, 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 we're going to delay the release of Ubisoft, or of Assassin's Creed Shadows. We intended no, disrespect or anything like that, blah, 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 blah. This is the new release date. Very sorry, blah, blah, blah. And boom, that's it, I have a feeling we're going to see that. That would be the smart move. That'd be the only move to do. If they continue, if they just keep that release date and all that, then hey, I don't know. More power to them. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to ring that bell for notifications. Scott, Ubisoft, what's next? I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.